Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Iconic Repaints back with a new video. Today I'm doing another X Plus figure review, and kind of a bittersweet one today because actually I finally, after all these years, I've just decided to sell this guy. Just kind of really couldn't display him the way I feel like it's properly fit, so I sold him to somebody who is really excited to get him. And I guess that's that's kind of paying it forward in a way. I mean, it's always good to see somebody who kind of missed out on something from years ago get a chance to really appreciate something the way that you can't anymore. So, moving on with the review, this is the X Plus Gigantic Series Burning Godzilla, or Godzilla 1995. And it's the second release in the Gigantic Series line. This follows up the GMK 2001 Gigantic figure that came out right before this. This guy was released, I want to say, in 2014, and I got him at launch, and I didn't think I was ever going to get a Gigantic Series figure, but it was kind of just, it wasn't money that I was really looking to spend at that time. But I know what these figures kind of, I don't want to like have him come out and then a year later decide I wanted him, because the cost would be so much higher. So I figured, what the hell, let me get him and invest now at the time, and if I didn't like him, I'm sure I would have no problem selling him. I got him. Of course, I loved him. This figure has been in my collection since that time in 2014, and he was definitely, probably for a long while, he was, I would say, the centerpiece, probably until I got the Gigantic Shin Godzilla. And he just has that a great presence about him. He's really massive. He's thick. He's beastly. He is stylized. It's kind of like some of the complaints or criticisms that kind of came out when this Gigantic series first came out. The designs of the monsters, they're not really suit accurate to the movie, which did bug me in the case of GMK. I kind of prefer the GMK suit in the movie than I do what they did with the figure. But for Burning Godzilla, I actually really like what they did with the figure. I mean, even though from like the legs, like probably I would say the abdomen down, he's just exaggeratingly so thick. Like he looks like a comic book character. But the torso going up and everything, and his neck and head, it's slightly stylized, but it really does also capture the suit, the essence of the suit, and the ferocity of Burning Godzilla. I mean, the glare is like pretty much straight out of the movie. They got like kind of like a really good roar pose going on, so there is a compromise, but ultimately I think it just has massive shelf presence, and that's kind of what you're paying for with this piece. One thing I really love about this guy, the sculpt is phenomenal, but I love what they did with the burning effect. So cheaper companies or cheaper figures, they'll paint the red and orange to kind of try to replicate the burning effect of Burning Godzilla. But with this piece, they used translucent kind of vinyl and put something underneath the skin, and it really enhances the effect a lot more. It's a lot better. Paint can't really capture and match what they did with this piece. There have been different releases of this figure that have come out since, and for whatever reason, with those, they painted on it directly onto the skin without the translucent kind of effect and material, and it doesn't look nearly as good. So that's one thing that's great about the original release of this figure. You get that, and it definitely takes it up another level. Yeah, so he's about 18.5 inches tall. He's over 30 inches long. So he definitely takes up a lot of space. Part of the reason why I decided to part ways with him, because he just doesn't fit my display anymore. I'd rather have that real estate for a few other options. But it is still bittersweet. I mean, like I said, this guy has been in my collection for a while, and he was always held in high regard. Now, obviously, when people make videos on YouTube, you want to kind of be relevant and kind of have these videos when figures are upon releasing, because that's when things are going to be most popular, right? Well, I'm about 6 or 7 years late. So that's not really so much a worry of mine, but there is a perk to kind of being this late to the party. Is there's a criticism I do have with this figure, and I kind of had to fix mine. Is, I guess, when they slapped them up together in the factory, there's just so much vinyl that they had to like glue to make him hold for transit. So over the years, that glue kind of started to like I guess melt and ooze from the inside out. And I didn't really realize it was at first. I know this is common for a lot of these figures. I heard other people talking about it, but for me, I started to realize it in the last year or two. And I was like, at first I was like, wait, is that happening? I couldn't really tell. But then as time was going by, I was like, oh yeah, it's definitely happening. So it's gotten worse. So before I sold this, I wanted to clean him up, kind of gut it out a little bit. And I repainted over to try to get the paint to match as well as I could. So I did clean mine, but I don't know if there's a permanent solution for something like that. And it is kind of like a drawback. Like, you spend all this money on these figures and it's not something you really want to have to worry about. I know these things happen. I know every company has like their hiccups, and this was early on in a gigantic series, but it's like buying a car. I mean, you know, if you buy a brand new car and it's got all these like, you know, car and driver awards, all this praise, but then 5 years later, you kind of, you know, start to find out that the engine's made of crappy parts or whatever. It's, you know, can't really say it's as built as well as you were led to believe. Anyway, that's really what I have to say about this figure. It's kind of like a farewell video for him. I wanted to do something for him before I boxed him up and got him out. He's already on his way to New York, so I hope the buyer will be happy. And yeah, it's part of the game. So keep it tuned for more coming along. Everybody have a great Sunday. Peace.